3, 2, 1.
7 things you probably didn't know you need to know. I'm Jamie East, and this is the Smart 7.
Well, good morning. It's Thursday, the 23rd of April. Happy St George's Day. And happy birthday to documentary maker Michael Moore, model Gigi Hadid, and wrestler turned actor John Cena. As the UK continues to battle coronavirus, we have a new Labour leader, and yesterday was one of his first official duties. Kier Starmer took the podium for PMQ versus Dominic Raab, and he was crisp, clear and on the ball.
The Health Secretary made a very important commitment to 100,000 tests a day by the end of April. But yesterday, the figure for actual tests was 18,000 a day, and that was down from Monday, which was 19,000 tests a day. So we're way behind the curve, and the end of the month is a week tomorrow. So what does the First Secretary expect to happen in the next 8 days to get us from 18,000 tests a day to 100,000 tests a day?
Rob didn't have much of a great day yesterday, as at the daily press conference, he had Robert Peston with a tricky question.
Representatives of the TSSA Transport Union have been told to prepare for a possible increase in a phased way of the railway service between the 11th and 18th of May. Now, we're obviously not looking at an exit from lockdown, but is that a timetable for modifications of the lockdown?
Well, first of all, the dates that you described, I don't know where they come from. It's not something I recognise. And as Chris Whitty has rightly said, and as the Governor of the Bank of England has said, so you've got it from the public health, but also the economic perspective, it would be a mistake to take our eye off the ball right now. The focus is still delivering us through the peak, and we're obviously reliant, as I said last Thursday, on the data that we get back from SAGE in a couple of weeks' time in order to even think about the next phase.
The US death toll has now climbed to 47,000 people. But as we mentioned yesterday, the governor of Georgia is intent on opening up businesses this Friday. And not just any businesses. Well, hold on. I'll let Donald Trump explain why it's a bad idea.
I love those people that use all of those things, the spas and the beauty parlors and barber shops, tattoo parlors. I love them. But they can wait a little bit longer, just a little bit, not much, because safety has to predominate. We have to have that. So,
That's the same Donald who's been encouraging protesters to demand their states reopen. Those protests have seen nurses in full surgical gear peacefully counter-protest, and it's turned ugly.
Pictures of nurses and physicians with bruises on their faces and crying because they can't take another day of losing patients. It's just incredible that doesn't seem to affect people.
Richard Branson, the people's billionaire, is quite annoyed as airlines all over the world struggle and Virgin Australia has dropped into administration. Here he is giving out to the Australian government for not bailing out Virgin Australia. He's speaking from his private island, by the way.
In most countries, federal governments have stepped in this unprecedented crisis for aviation to help their airlines. Sadly, that has not happened in Australia. This is not the end for Virgin Australia and its unique culture. Never one to give up, I want to assure all of you and our competitor that we are determined to see Virgin Australia back up and running soon.
As pressure mounts on hospitals across the UK, ventilators have been sourced from some unlikely locations. Last week we saw the BBC donate the actual working ventilators they use on Holby City to a local hospital. What? And now the family of legendary physicist Stephen Hawking have donated his ventilator to the local hospital in Cambridge. Well, it's a lovely gesture, but I wonder, is it too soon to ask?
Who's got his speaking machine?
Sport, yes! Well, kind of. The Football Association, FA to you and me, is expected to announce today that Phil Neville is to step down as manager of the Lionesses. The intention is to have a new manager in place by next summer. He's had mixed results with the team and, of course, is a Man United legend. In fact, maybe now is the time to pause and remember his legendary step-over story.
I did a step-over, got to the byline, crossed it, and we nearly scored. And as I was running back, Butty, Bex, Keno, they were laughing their heads off. So the next time I got the ball, I threw in a double step-over, and Roy Keane looked at me and just said, "Stop effing about."
Charlie Brooker's back with a special edition of Newswipe, antiviral wipe on the BBC. There's no transmission date as yet for the lockdown special, but it will also include the superb Philomena Kunk.
The best way to find out where Britain's heading is to look behind us into something called history, a sort of rear-view mirror for time. So that's where I'm going, back there.
It's a journey that'll take me the length and width of the country. From the White Cliffs of Dover to the Scottish Highlands of the Scottish Highlands.
Now, that's something to look forward to. Even press releases for the show reach peak Charlie Brooker by including this quote. "The BBC asked me for a quote for the press release, which is what you're reading now." Sorry, Charlie. And finally, Gary Barlow has been rocking the Lockin with various celeb guests. It's one of my favourite things about the whole lockdown. For his 30th edition of #The Crooner Sessions, he only had Jules Holland in. Enjoy.
Can I just have one more romance with you, my love?
Beautifully done.
Woo! Thank you, Jules. Thank you, Donovan.
This has been the Smart 7. Stay safe, stay distant, and for goodness sake, wash your hands. We're back tomorrow at 7. Like and subscribe wherever you get your podcasts.
Hi, I'm Hannah Norris, and this is my husband,
Carl Donnelly.
And we have a new podcast for you. It's called the Keith Cheggers Podcast, and it's about pregnancy, because that is what's happening in our lives right now.
And inside your belly.
Yeah, so we are recording weekly episodes throughout the course of my pregnancy, talking to each other and interesting and funny guests that we have on about their experiences with pregnancy, so we can work out a bit more about what the hell is happening and what is coming up for us. So tune in, subscribe, and have a listen to the Keith Cheggers Podcast.
Bye.
Bye.
GreatBigOwl.com